Hi YouTube, my name is Eric. If you're new visiting my channel, thank you for watching this video. Click the like and subscribe button. Make sure to join us. I'm a recovering addict. I deal with anxiety, depression, PTSD, ADHD on a daily basis. I fight a battle that most of us fight every single day, and I created and designed a channel and a movement around that of making sure that nobody goes through life alone. So make sure you click the like and subscribe button. Love to have you along for the journey with us. And to everybody who has subscribed, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Hi YouTube, this is Eric. Thanks for watching this. This is all on I lied to my doctor, because I don't know if anyone else has, but I have. I've lied to my psychiatrist, I've lied to my psychologist, I've lied to counselors. And why? There's lots of reasons why. And I want to just share some of that with you, because the more lies that I've done, I realized that I'm not the only one that's lied to my doctor, and it actually turned out to be kind of a common thing. And there's a lot of different reasons why we lie to our doctor. I mean, for me personally, let's face it, let's go through that doctor appointment. You know, we're battling depression, we're battling anxiety. I go see his doctor just for my ADHD because there's a squirrel there, and oh my goodness, look at the red ball. Wait, what was I talking about? Because we go to this doctor and we know that they're there to help us. We know that we're going to see them to get help and to get the support that we need, possibly change up our medications, because let's face it, it's all trial and error to find out what works for us. And again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counselor, I'm none of that. I've been through a lot of shit, and I like to share my experiences and make sure that nobody goes through life alone. So we build up all the strength and the courage, and a lot of times we dread that doctor appointment coming up, and we're a little bit afraid of that doctor appointment coming up. We make it out to be this huge deal in our head, and we're stressed out about it because we're going through a bunch of shit, and we kind of look forward to our doctor appointment, but then we don't look forward to our doctor appointment. It's kind of a wave of emotions, and I don't even know if truly all the doctors out there realize how exhausting it is just before the doctor appointment, those first couple days of build up to the doctor appointment that we go through. Now it's the day of the doctor appointment, and sometimes for some of us, it's a struggle just to get out of bed. It's a struggle just to put our clothes on, let alone get out the front door, get in our fucking vehicle and drive there. We know there is something wrong. We know we need to share. Maybe we've been struggling even added with our depression, or maybe the meds that we're taking aren't working the way that we had hoped that they do. It's all communication, and face it, it's trial and error to find out what doctor works best for you and what medication works best for you. And you know yourself better than anybody else. So if things aren't working, we know that we need to tell our doctor, but then it gets to that point of getting there, and let's face it, we all walk into our doctor's office probably pretty much, if you're like me, with that fake smile that everything is awesome, life is great, you're awesome, I'm happy. Really, come on. And we don't call it out, and we don't talk enough about of what we're really going through. And we sit down with the doctor and they go, hey, you know, how are you doing? Or how are the meds working for you? And it's all great, wonderful, fine, good, one-word answers. And a lot of times I've noticed even with my doctors is they don't really dive in on those one-word answers to kind of go, why are they only using one-word answers? Why aren't we divulging more information and really pick at it a little bit to get us to open up? And if they don't, we definitely stay shut down. I mean, I do. And so I don't want to speak for anybody else or out of turn here, but I know what it's like to go through a doctor's appointment that should have been a half hour and it's done in 15 minutes because everything is fine. And I walk out of that appointment going, fuck, I should have talked to him about this, or what about this? And now I'm calling other people because I just need support, or I need help, or I need resources, whatever it might be, or I'm struggling, or next thing you know, I'm going to AA meeting because I'm getting therapy there in a sense then. It's finding those ways to actually be open and talk to our doctor. And why do we shut down with our doctor so much? Because we're afraid if we share with them, we're going to the insane asylum. We're getting 5150, we're going to get Baker acted. And I'm going to do a couple videos on this, and I've started reaching out to doctors because I really want them to share, because my doctor personally, I ended up sitting down talking with, he's never Baker acted anybody or 5150'd them or even turned them in, and he started going through that there's a lot that goes into it, and doctors know better than if you sit down and say, you know what, I'm suicidal, or I'm dealing with massive depression and I don't know if it's worth it, that they're not going to send you away. They go into the problem, they help you open up, and they start fixing the problem with you, together with you, finding solutions to it, and working through it. And that's one of the things that we don't realize sometimes, because we're so afraid that our problems are so great because we've built this momentum challenge up in our head that if we share this, it's too much for our doctor. They're going to feel that they're going to have to take us away and we're going to have to get fixed. Well, first off, you're not broken. You don't need any fixing. We go through a lot of challenges in life, and sometimes it's chemical in our brain and it's biological and it has to do with our genes, has to do with life, whatever it is. And I know because I've been to those dark places, those dark pits where you feel that you're the only one going through this and you're afraid to share to your doctor if you share this, that he's going to think that something's wrong. I mean, the biggest thing that they're going to keep an eye out for, at least what my doctor had told me, is if you're in any major immediate danger of harming yourself or hurting another person. That's what they're really trying to pick up on. Not if you're going to sit there, vent, break down, cry. And let me tell you this, crying, getting it out, it helps. It's healing. Why is it healing? Because what I've learned, at least with myself, is the more that I share, the more that my brain actually works on trying to solve the problems and solve the issues that I'm going through, or come up with solutions, or start reaching out. Not sharing with our doctors, we don't get any of that. If we don't share with our doctors that the meds aren't working, it's not just us. There's so many different meds out there. There's a reason for that. And sometimes we think that, oh my goodness, this medication didn't work, or my doctor's going to give up on me. That's not the case. And the reason I say that is, for me, for example, I'm ADHD. I take Adderall. Adderall is a wonderful, wonderful medication to me. I know there's a lot of negative side effects to it. There's a lot of positive side effects to it. But for my ADHD, it lets me be human. It lets me act and function as a normal human being. It might not work for everybody, though, who's ADHD. And it's finding the right ADHD medicine that works for you, or when you're in depression, of what medication works for you. It's trial and error, and just remember, the more that you're open, the more that you communicate with your doctor of what's working and what's not working, the more that we can get that help and the more that we can get it sooner. We don't feel like we're just treading water. And I don't know if anyone's ever been in a pool where you're sitting there just treading water. Eventually, it gets really fucking tired, and if you don't have a life jacket, you're probably going to end up drowning. And I just use that analogy because, let's face it, when we go to our doctor's appointments and we go through months without seeing any kind of progress in our head or in our daily activities, and it's still, everything is such a battle, that we need to remember that let's look in a little bit and how much are we really sharing with our doctor? One of the tools that I use if I know that I'm going to go in and I'm probably going to lie to my doctor is I write everything down and I just hand him a little list. And I'm like, this is what I'm going through, to help him start the conversation, because I also don't know how to start the conversation a lot of times with doctors. I don't know how to sit down with the doctor and say, well, you know what, I just had a lot of stress from fucking work, and then this guy pissed me off, and then I drove by a liquor store and I wanted to drink, but I'm a recovering addict, so I'm fighting through that, and I'm trying to keep my sobriety straight, and I had a fight with my wife, or I broke up with my girlfriend, or whatever it might be, that we don't share those daily things that can trigger us. And if we don't share that with our doctor, they can't help us, and we have to remember that. The doctors are there to help us. They're not there to send us away. And yet we build up a big fear of our doctors. We fear that judgment. We fear that stigma. And if you truly feel that with your doctor, go find some other doctors. It's all trial and error. Again, I've been to doctors that I loved and have adored. I've been to doctors that I fucking hated. And it's all right. We're all set differently of how we are personality-wise, that we're not going to get along with everybody. That's okay. We're not meant to get along with everybody. If somebody said I get along with everybody out there, wow, you got an ability that I don't know anyone else who has, and you are an X-Men superhero, because that's amazing. We have to remember that these doctors are here to help us, and we have to find the right doctor that we get the most out of and that give us the most back in return. So when we go in, I mean, fight through it. Fight through getting out that door. That mask is heavy. I know what that mask is like. Hey, everything is fine and my life is wonderful, and how are you doing? And inside we're screaming, yelling, kicking, just throwing things, just freaking out, breaking down. And that mask is heavy, and I know what that mask is fucking like because I've been there too. I've worn that mask many a times, and I still do. And I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to put it away, but you know what? Each day I'm going to try, and I'm not going to give up. And that's what's so important. That's why these doctor appointments are so important, especially if it's taking you a month or 2 months to get this doctor appointment set up. That's why it's important to get in there and be able to share with them. And if you're afraid of sharing with them, bring a list of what you're going through and hand it to them. Help that start the conversation for you. It makes it a lot easier because a lot of times we sit down, we don't even know where to start. Let's face it, where do we start at our list of shit that we're going through? What's A, B, C, D? I don't know. I don't know where to start. Most people, I don't think, know where to start. So just write out a list. You know what? The doctor will go through it with you, maybe even together determine what's the most important. I've done that with my doctor personally. I know what it's like to kind of go through a list, figure out what are the most important ones. Let's tackle these first and let's work ourselves down. And guess what? I start to see progress and I start to see myself pushing forward and I start to see improvement. And it's a beautiful thing and it gets me excited, and I know that it's not a lost cause, and I'm not a lost cause because we're our hardest critics. We're tougher on ourselves than anybody else would be. I want you to know, though, that you don't have to lie to your doctor. And I know that it's hard not to lie to our doctor. I know that it's hard not to do that response of, I'm fine, I'm good, everything's wonderful, everything's great, the medication works just fine. I know, I've been there. If we're not, though, we need to be able to try and communicate across to them that we're not. And remember, you're not the only one going through it. And a lot of times we think that when we're seeing our doctor, at least with myself, I'm the only one going through this shit and I don't know how to share it and I don't want to freak them out. I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be stigmatized. Well, this is their job. And we're holding them back from being able to help us. And sometimes we're our own worst enemies, and we need to remember that. We need to realize that when it's our brain and the negative self-talk, because our brain and our talk to ourselves is the most believable of any of it out there. And we believe it. If our brain tells us that we're alone, we truly start to think that we're alone. And I guarantee you this, I mean, I have the Discord down below that's all on mental health. I'm on all the social medias. I throw out my phone number there. Call me, text me, email me, whatever it is, I'll show you how you're not alone. It's okay what you're going through, and it's okay to be not okay, but it's not okay to not fight forward to that help. And one of the best tools I can say is give them a list of what you're going through. Tell your doctor that you're afraid. Let them know what your fears are, that you're afraid that they might put you into an insane asylum. Let them calm those fears to you. And trust me, the doctor ain't sitting there lying to you. He has no reason to typically do that. I mean, if you feel that uncomfortable with your doctor, my biggest suggestion then is find the right doctor that you get along with personality-wise. Again, it's all trial and error and finding out what works for you. Because a doctor that I might really enjoy and get the most out of, somebody else out there might think is a horrible doctor. And it's just how we are personality-wise. But remember this, that, I mean, when you go in and you're talking to the doctors, if we're not open with them, we can't find the results and the solutions that we're looking for, and it's so important. It's so important to be able to be open with them. It's so important to be able to share with them what we're going through and what we're battling within our head, because all of our depression, anxiety, the journey that we're going through is different than everybody else. So we can't be categorized, and doctor doesn't know that unless we share. So sharing with the doctor is everything. I just want you to know that when you fight out that door and you get to that appointment, that it's worth it, that you get the most out of it, and that you're able to share with him what you're going through, or with her what you're going through, and that you can find those tools and you can achieve those goals together, and you can see the progress that you want to see, and you can see the changes in your life that you want to see, because it is possible, it is doable, and there's success stories every day of people fighting through depression and anxiety and through PTSD, through it all. So I want you to know, 1, you're not alone. 2, don't lie to your doctor. They're not going to send you away. I'm going to do some videos on that of trying to get some doctors on board that will share of what it really takes to actually be sent, to be protected from yourself by a doctor. And believe me, it's not an easy thing to do. It's something that's not very common at all with doctors. So remember that when you're going in. Remember that when you're afraid and you want to just say, I'm fine. Slide them over a list. Share with them of how hard this is for you to share and that you don't know how to even. They'll help you through it. Again, you're not alone in these battles, and that you can do it. And my channel is all about people helping people make a difference. I have a bunch of links down below where it comes from, anywhere from my mental health Discord to all the different social medias that I'm on, because you're not alone, and you are a fighter. You've made it this far. You've made it through 100% of your worst days. And I can tell you this, you didn't come this far to only come this far. Keep fighting every day. And you can do this. We can do this together. It's a community thing. It's an us thing. It's a we thing. It's a together thing. I want you to know that you're not alone. I want you to know you're not the only one that's lied to your doctor, and you're not the only one that's going to find tools and tricks and ways to be able to finally share with your doctor and have those breakthroughs, because you can have them and they'll happen for you. We just have to be open to them. I hope that you got something out of this. I hope that you feel less alone. I hope that next time you go to your doctor, you're open with them, or you give them a list, or you at least share that it's hard for you to share, and that you're able to break through those barriers that maybe your brain has set up for you. If you haven't clicked the like and subscribe button, click the like and subscribe button. It's right down there. Love to have you along for the journey. Again, it's all about ADHD, PTSD, depression, anxiety, suicide awareness, It's about making it through life together and knowing that we can, because you can. So I look forward to sharing this journey with you, and I can't wait till my next video. Again, thank you so much for the support, and I love you guys. We can do this together. It's an amazing community. So keep fighting forward.